Hello, you're watching TelecomTV's Summit on Telcos and Public Cloud. I'm Guy Daniels, Director of Content, and I am delighted to say that joining me on the programme today is Luis Fiallo, who is Vice President of China Telecom Americas. Luis, good to speak with you again because it's been a while since we last spoke. Now, a large part of this year's summit has been devoted to the issue of multi-cloud. As we've been discovering, there's passionate views for and against. Can I, first of all, ask why China Telecom Americas supports the multi-cloud view, and what exactly are you doing in this area?
Well, Guy, first of all, thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to speak to you again and share some of our developments as far as how we view multi-cloud. But first of all, let me start off by saying that for us, multi-cloud is the management of a variety of different resources. One of them is the public cloud, or access to the public cloud. The other one is that you still have some data centers, some private cloud. You have some branches of end users that need connectivity to the environment. And you also have, whatever other things that may come up related to gathering information and sharing information across a very global infrastructure. China Telecom and China Telecom Americas, obviously, we've been investing in migrating our business model towards support of multi-cloud. And the main reason is if you think about telecommunications and how it's evolved. Originally, one time we would actually build infrastructure to connect one location to another location, but that has changed. The companies today, in the U.S. there was a study done recently where 92% of the companies, large companies in the U.S. are actually have a public cloud infrastructure. And 82% of them actually have multi-cloud. So the adoption rate of this cloud infrastructure and the multi-cloud infrastructure is there, okay? And I see no reason it's going to turn back. So a company like ours, whose history is building a massive underlay network to connect all these, in the previously, to connect you from your one location to your other location, to your home offices and so forth, has evolved to now being able to provide a better, more secure, more, faster capability to get access to these clouds and integrate them together. As a result of that, that's where our focus is. And in the Americas, we're actually evolved so much that we've stopped selling, the traditional local loop services, and we've migrated everything towards selling SD-WAN and our cloud solutions, along with the data center services that we do provide today. And we're selling not only our capabilities, but also our parent capabilities around the world, which today comprises of reaching 45 of the top metropolitan cities in the world in all of China. So, it's a big investment, but, companies like us who have already built huge networks around the world, we feel that that's the right strategy in helping our customers as they migrate to this multi-cloud environment, which is really it's a different way of looking at it, but it's really, Telecom 101, but now it's just on the cloud.
So as you say, it's a big investment that you make here. And if you had to identify the main reasons for why you adopt multi-cloud, you've mentioned your customers and those large enterprise customers who have their own multi-clouds, and you're connecting this together. Is that the fundamental reason? Is it all really to do with your customers?
Well, the customers obviously drive our decisions, right? But if you think about it, or our own analysis is, we concluded that on our connectivity, we can reduce costs between 15% and higher to the infrastructure that they need to be able to connect all these locations together than from the traditional way. The second thing is we can actually do it 25% faster, okay, than traditionally we've done it in the past. So now you're getting into a world where our customers are getting more control over their environment. getting it at cheaper costs, and getting it faster. I think that's the migration of where our strategy is leading us to do this. The world has changed. Maybe you can say that it kickstarted with the pandemic, but the reality is that it was headed in this direction no matter what. And what we're seeing is that also, cloud infrastructures from the public cloud providers differ from geography to geography. So for us is being able to have a better way, a faster way for everybody to connect to that infrastructure, and then also getting back into China, which opens up another level of complexity and a different set of partners and everything else, an ecosystem. So I think we fit in very nicely, for companies that are multinational, that do business in China and Asia. We have a good solution.
Now, you spoke about how your strategy is evolving and adapting and changing. And therefore, does this multi-cloud strategy you're on now, does it place more demands on you as a telco to have a comprehensive cloud-native skill set available to you in-house?
Yeah, that's a great question. It definitely is. We are in the beginning stages, I would say, sort of shuffling, our employee talent base. If you think about the internet, right? Before the internet was X25 and other technologies, okay, you had to have engineers that understood that technology. Now we have to have engineers that not only understand cloud technology, but understands the different applications that are being tied into this cloud infrastructure, and helping our clients understand for themselves how it's done and helping customers migrate into this environment. It's a totally different mindset of what we historically have done in building out, point-to-point solutions previously. The second thing is, the limits of where all this is going is just the beginning. If you think of, the amount of data that's being collected on IoT devices and, restored inside of a cloud. If you think about the future of edge computing and how that's going to drive additional need for computing power in different locations, and then put it all together and be able to provide this in a way that a company can actually operate. I think it's actually better suits for us than, and actually it's a change in the way we operate and how our people think. So we are much more a consulting type of organization than we were previously.
Well, that's really interesting to hear. And, Lewis, conversely, does it also place more demands on your public cloud partners to have in-depth telco knowledge? And to what extent do they need to be experts in your kind of telco workloads?
Well, some people would argue that they are telcos, right? That they've made huge amounts of investments into their public cloud infrastructure. What they have done is they built a network that's tied to their network. So they are, trying to promote the values of their infrastructure. What we are trying to do is we work with a variety of different public cloud providers. And what we're trying to do is get access to that environment on behalf of our customers in a way that we can help them manage getting access to that infrastructure on, so if there was a problem, it's sort of like managed services for the cloud. In many ways, we are building what I would call like a network architecture that allows us, so it's network as a service that you're going to buy from us, and you're going to get access to this public cloud infrastructure, or your private cloud, or your data centers, or anything else you need. So for us, it's a continuous evolution of what we've done in the past. And I think I think most telcos would view the public cloud providers today as a partner, because they do have value in what they're solving, but it's their value, and their solutions made different by geography based on price and capabilities. So what we try to do is we try to help our mutual end customers get access to that infrastructure, and at the same time also take advantage of some of the infrastructure that we built, because we do have our own cloud infrastructure as well.
Well, that brings me nicely on to my next question, and that is, how does this impact your approach to hybrid cloud? Because you spoke earlier about having your own data centers, private cloud, as well as public cloud. Do you still differentiate between on-prem and in-cloud, or are these all simply just regarded as cloud resources?
That's a great question as well. So the reality is that everything is cloud resources, but there's on-net and off-net. Okay, but our on-net is really to get you using our resources, our underlay network, to get you access to the cloud resources that you're using. It may be a combination of public cloud, data centers that we provide, or data centers that you have that you may want to reach. For example, in our infrastructure today, in our ecosystem around the world, we reach 144 data centers, right? So if you think about it, we're not only connecting you to the public cloud infrastructure, we're giving you faster capabilities to connect to data centers around the world. And we also give you access to, our SD-WAN services that allows you to be able to see and monitor and be able to look at what's happening with the network. So it's all a more cohesive view of managing your business than what you would have received from us previously.
And finally, Lewis, I fully appreciate that all telcos are different. They've all got their different objectives, and they're all focused slightly differently. But would you say that multi-cloud is the best long-term approach for them? Is multi-cloud really the model for the future for telcos?
I believe that we're just starting to see. There was a report. I can't remember who the analyst was, but it's going to grow 25% over the next 10 years, right? And it's going to be over $30 billion marketplace. And that'll just continue to accelerate as you see more deployments, especially of the edge computing type of cloud infrastructures that are in the early stages being developed. I think companies like us, telecom companies, that where our value, if you look at China Telecom as a whole, we have a tremendous amount of assets inside of China. Okay, outside of China, we have less. And what we decided to do as a company is, hey, let's build a cloud infrastructure to help our customers outside of China get access to their cloud infrastructure that they need. And many times that includes a component inside of China. So for us, that's the future, right? As I mentioned to you, we stopped providing private line services in the US. And we did that on purpose in order to be able to focus on what we believe is the next level of communications and to work with cloud providers, to work with an ecosystem of providers. For example, companies that are providing storage services, companies that provide different types of access to different applications that businesses are using. We're in the process of building out this ecosystem. And if you ask me this question 3 years from now, we would be a much bigger company focused on cloud with a lot more resources. And, the race is on, right? We're trying to build us as fast as we can. And to answer your specific question, I do believe, our industry as a whole, there will be the traditional guys where they have value in what they provide as the underlying network, okay, like our parent company does have in China. But outside of China, where our value is really in integrating all the components of both the public cloud, private cloud, data centers, and putting it all together and helping the customers understand how to manage it and helping them manage it in our case.
Lewis, I'll make a diary appointment for 3 years from now and we'll ask that question again and see where we all are. It's going to be really interesting. As always, pleasure talking with you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program.
Guys, my pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you in 3 years from now, but hopefully before then as well. But as always, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and thank you.